Real news for Americans 50 plus. This is Emeritus News Channel.
I said good morning, and you were late.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Well, first of all, the stars are aligning for victory on comprehensive health reform. The end is in sight. However, I want to emphasize that we have a terrific opportunity here for a twin victory. We can use the Education Reconciliation Bill, which I've been working on as chair of the Health Committee, and which George Miller has been working on as chairman of the Education Labor Committee in the House, to eliminate billions of dollars in wasteful subsidies to banks and redirect that money to needy students and families in the form of increased Pell Grants and others. Here's what's at stake. If we fail to pass this bill, the 8 million students who currently receive maximum Pell Grants could see about a 60% reduction in their student aid. Yes, you heard me right. If we don't pass this Education Reconciliation Bill, students could see up to a 60% cut in their Pell Grants. And nearly 500,000 students would lose their aid entirely. This is a catastrophe waiting to happen, and it's unacceptable. By contrast, if we pass this Education Reconciliation Bill, we have an opportunity to deliver more than $50 billion in additional Pell Grant aid to students, and it's fully paid for. Fully paid for. And we'll do so at a time when Americans are struggling as never before to find ways to pay for their higher education. Now here's the facts. This bill makes more than a $50 billion investment in the Pell Grant program, as I said. The bill would increase the maximum Pell Grant by nearly $1,000 over time, over a few years, and it would tie the increases to rises in the Consumer Price Index to keep pace with college costs. The bill would increase the maximum award from about $5,550 to somewhere between $6,300 to maybe $6,400 or $6,500. This is excellent public policy. It's also good politics for Democrats and Republicans alike. I well remember in 2007 when we cut student loan subsidies to the banks and plowed the savings into higher Pell Grants. Senators went home, touted this achievement to their constituents. It was a huge win. I also want to add that our bill would reduce the budget deficit. Yes, you heard me right. It will reduce the budget deficit. That's what reconciliation process is all about. Our bill would reduce the deficit by at least $5 billion. Families and students who rely on federal student aid need to know that Congress sides with them and not with the big banks. The federal government has been subsidizing these banks and wasting taxpayer money for far too long. It's time to end it. I also appreciate that there are real benefits in our bill that will help our state nonprofit student lenders who provide service to students. So we've carved out a role for the nonprofits. The bill also includes $750 million in guaranteed funding that will go to states to support activities that increase the number of low-income students who are prepared to enter and succeed in college. And last, and very, very important, our bill includes over $2 billion to the historically black colleges and universities in America that have been woefully underfunded for far too long. So we can accomplish all of this. We can accomplish all of this by adopting the Higher Ed Reconciliation Bill. And we intend to do this. It will help our students. It'll help their families. It will reduce the deficit. It will help make sure that our African American students who are going to our historically black colleges and universities get the help they need to also go to school. So this is a win-win for everyone, and I can't thank George Miller enough for all that he has done to get us to this position. And I'll turn it over to George now.
Jim Clyburn.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Harkin, Chairman Miller. Thank both of you for the tremendous leadership you've given on something that's tremendously important. I grew up in South Carolina, a state that will benefit to the tune of $831 million if this bill were to pass. A state that continues to be in the top 5 states in the country in unemployment. The unemployment numbers came out for states on yesterday, and we were number 4, over 12% unemployment. I have counties in my state where the unemployment rate is 22%. And all of these young people have been told that the pathway out of poverty, the key to employment is an education. And we have been making tremendous strides in providing that for these young people. This bill not only helps historically black colleges and universities, but there is construction money in this bill for those students, for their classrooms that we have been reading so much about. In addition to Pell Grants, this money is there, and I'm sure Javier will speak to it. We are providing critical support to Hispanic serving institutions, minority serving institutions that they would not ordinarily get. And I want to thank Senator Harkin and Chairman Miller for their vision and their wisdom in putting together a piece of legislation that reduces the deficit and enhances the opportunities for young children to get the education that they deserve.